Look, I'm not saying 2016 was a utopia. We had the left pad incident, we were still arguing if semicolons were a moral failure, and every 3 weeks a new framework claimed to be the Angular killer. But back then, we were building things. Fast forward to 2026. My IDE is basically a backseat driver, my coding is 40% prompting and 60% YAML, and I haven't seen a raw SQL query in 3 years. Tech used to feel like digital Legos, now it feels like filing taxes in a neon-lit cubicle. Let's talk about why the magic died somewhere between the release of GPT-4 and the 11th Slack huddle you've been invited to today. In 2016, you had a text editor, a dream, and Stack Overflow. If you hit a bug, you went on a spiritual journey through documentation and GitHub issues. You actually learned how the machine thought. In 2026, now, we have AI pair programmers that are essentially very confident toddlers. Sure, it spits out boilerplate in seconds, but now my job isn't engineer, it's senior prompt auditor. I spend my day correcting hallucinations. We've traded the joy of the aha moment for the monotony of the delete and regenerate loop. And speaking of loops, let's talk about the infinite feedback loop of the modern workplace. In 2016, we were obsessed with disruption. You could spin up a VPS, SSH into a server, and break things in production like a god. There was a sense of the Wild West. Now in 2026, everything is sanitized. We have DevX teams, Agile coaches for our Agile coaches and compliance layers that make it impossible to ship a hello world without 6 security scans and a legal review. We didn't just move the needle, we buried it under a mountain of Jira tickets. The hacker is dead, the ticket closer is all that remains. In 2016, should I use Redux? Was the hardest question we faced. But in 2026, to build a simple landing page today, you apparently need an edge computing framework, serverless functions that take 4 seconds to cold start, a distributed database that's eventually consistent, meaning it'll work when it feels like it, 13 different observability tools to tell you why the site is slow. We've engineered ourselves into a corner where the overhead of the modern data stack is heavier than the actual product. We're over-engineering birdhouses with aerospace-grade carbon fiber. The data shows it, too. Developer satisfaction is hitting an all-time low despite salaries remaining high. Why? Because the abstractions are leaking. When the AI writes the code and the CI/CD pipeline handles the deployment, and the cloud handles the infrastructure, the human element, the actual problem-solving, becomes a commodity. We're losing the flow state because we're constantly interrupted by the tools meant to help us. Is tech still fun? Maybe if you're building niche Rust projects on the weekend. But the industry? It's grown up, and like most adults, it's gotten a bit boring and very obsessed with its own bureaucracy. We used to build the future. Now we just maintain the algorithms that tell us what to buy. But hey, at least the 2026 mechanical keyboards sound better.
Right.